everybody's coming out story is going to be different. They have not even, you're not even going to have the same outcome all the time, because some people come out and the family's accepting it, loving it, like, oh, I've been new. For other people, they come out on Monday and by Friday they did, due to somebody killing them or them killing themselves. So I hear people say, why do people act so surprised, or like it's a freaking celebration when gay people come out? They shouldn't be worried about it. They should be actually happy about the fact that they don't have to go through something like this. Straight people aren't afraid to say, guess what, everybody, I'm straight. The world accepts it as normal, but for homosexuals, it's not that. As a kid, I was, I was innocent. I thought it was cute. No, seriously, as a kid though, I was, what can I say? I was a very loving kid, affectionate, happy kid, goofy kid, I guess. I don't really remember it too much, but I'll say I was a pretty cool kid. But being gay as a kid, I really don't. I want to say it was easy and it was difficult. It was easy because I didn't have to be gay. I was in a closet. And it was difficult because I was in a closet as well. In the beginning, I didn't even know what it was. I thought it was normal. I remember I used to think as I got older that, maybe because me and my father didn't have a good relationship, that I was gay. Or maybe because what happened to me when I think I was like 11 or 13 was the reason why I was gay. And I used to believe that until I remember that before any of that, I had an attraction to a guy as young as I remember. I was in the first grade. His name was Kirk. I'm not gonna say his last name, but his name was Kirk. And I remember that. So it's like I couldn't really say, oh, because I didn't have a relationship with my dad, I was gay, or maybe I saw something gay because I wasn't exposed to homosexuality. I've never seen it before. When I heard the word gay around my household or neighborhood, people were saying that to, I guess, demasculize, if I'm using the word properly or correctly, someone else, another individual. Like, if somebody was scared to fight, they'd call them a faggot or gay. If, two guys were hugging each other, they gay or a faggot or something like that. So I didn't really, at that time, put the correlation or the, how can I put the, I don't know, I didn't get the thought that, gay meant having an attraction to another guy. And on the forefront in today's society, being gay is all about sexual relationships. I'm sexually attracted to this person. They fail to realize that it's not just a sexual attraction. It's two people of the same sex fall in love with one another just like heterosexuals do. But they forget that. So it's just, it was, like I said, it wasn't too bad because I had to suppress it. The relationship with the family, though. Like my grandparents, I can't say there was any relationship as far as the homosexual thing, because it's something I don't think they paid attention to, or they even, were ever around to recognize something's wrong with that guy, with the boy. So we had a pretty good relationship. I was bad as hell, like any other kid, but we had a pretty good relationship for the most part. Me and my grandmother are cooler than a frostbite to this day. My grandfather's dead, rest in peace to him. My uncles, again, it was like a hit and miss, like with them and my grandparents. I didn't have the best relationships with my uncle as a kid, but you know, we were family. We were cool. But so with them, since they were like actually in the scene and in the current state of the world, they probably saw some traits, but they never spoke of them to me. Now, my father, well, not even that. Let me talk about my cousin. Like, you know, he's a month younger than me, but I looked up to him for the simple fact of the way my dad and my uncles respected him, because he beat 2 kids up in the neighborhood before. And I saw how differently they looked at him. And I wanted them to look at me like that, because I knew they didn't, because I wasn't acting as society would say the typical boy or the typical man would act. I was a lot more soft or loving and caring or too affectionate for the average man, as the world would say. So I was treated different and I was looked at different. And it's not to say that they consciously knew. They probably did, but either way, I was looked at differently. I know there wasn't a respect for me the way they had for him. I know they didn't look at me the way they looked at him. And I lived with, not with my cousin, but with my father and my 2 uncles. So it was kind of crazy. But he was the fly cousin. Like, he had the friends, the nice school clothes. And not to say that, you know, my dad didn't give me the good looking school clothes, but my cousin, he had more of the hip fashion. My dad, I kid you not, my dad would go to the store, buy like 30 turtles. I had every color turtleneck there was in the world, you know, but my cousin was it. He was cool. And, you know, I believe some of my family members would say, because they were younger than me, my siblings looked up to me. And the only person that will be true for is my little brother from my mother's side. That's the only person I will believe looked up to me. But as far as my cousin and my sister, it was the other way around. I looked up to them because it seemed like my dad and my uncles like gravitated to them more. They had the friends, you know. I'm pretty sure, you know, with any female, the phone's always ringing, you know, her girlfriend's always calling. But my sister, you know, she was pretty popular. She was cool. Just like my cousin. I was the outcast. You know, the phone never really rang for me. You know, I was literally an outcast. Everything about me was not accepted. Nothing was accepted. So, you know, the relationship I had with my father was, boy, it wasn't a good one. I don't even know where it went bad. I don't even remember where it went bad, but it wasn't a good one. I mean, we had physical altercations, verbal altercations. He's not a bad guy. He's just like, I'm an emotional person and he's the complete opposite. Like, you know, he's not too good with emotion. And as a kid, I didn't understand. Now I'm grown, I understand, you know. But as a kid, I didn't. I just felt like he didn't care or whatever. But, you know, with him, with the gay thing, I believe he saw, because he used to ask me, you know, was I gay? And I never told him yeah, because I was scared to be even more rejected. And, you know, they may see this, you know, I've recognized the way the communication with my family today is. I've recognized that some of them lie to themselves so much that they actually believe their own lies, in a sense of, you know, I wish you would have told me, or I would have loved you anyway. You know, and these are the same people that used to call me faggot, gay, sissy, man up. You know, like, I was a very sensitive and emotional kid. You wouldn't think that looking at me today. I just wanted to be accepted. by them because I looked up to them. And they may not believe it because I was older than my siblings or whatever, but I did because they had the esteem or, I'm trying to figure out the word. They had the image that I wanted. Whatever they were doing, people, I'm going to speak from a child, since people loved them, people cared about them. It wasn't so with me. And I had my mother and I, man, that was my biggest emotional support. Like, she was it. That was my girl. I was her boy. She was like, if I, like when she used to come and visit, because I didn't live with her, and it's like the one person I was connected to emotionally, I didn't live with. I always had to talk to her over the phone, and with the phone, it's hit and miss. Sometimes, I'll call and she'll be busy with her adult life, and I really can't talk to her at the time. But she was my biggest support. Like, when she used to come and visit and then had to leave, I would cry for hours. Like, I would cry for hours. And I don't even know why I would cry as bad as I did. Like, you would think I would never see her again, as bad as I used to cry. I don't, looking back, I don't know why, but I do know that she was I was her biggest fan. Because she could do no wrong in my eyes. Nothing. But as far as the gay thing, she isn't exempt from anyone else. She didn't accept it, I remember she never, some parents will tell you, you got to get out my house, or God hates you, and I'm going to be raw with this video. So if you're sensitive to language, then I suggest you hit the stop button and exit now. But my mother, like, some parents will tell their kids, God fucking hates you, you're gonna go to hell, or get the fuck out of my house, or things like that. Some parents really talk. My mother never did that, but she has said things, gays go to hell, or getting fucked in the ass hurts like hell, or the whole AIDS thing. And they may not remember everything they said to me, but I do, because it hurt. It hurt. It's like, as a kid, you're looking at your siblings call you these things. You're looking at the world call you these things. So now I think the world hates me because I'm gay. Now my siblings used to call me that when they got upset with me. So if you're calling, the only time you're calling me that is when you're mad at me and upset at me. I can tell you're using that in a negative sense. So now I kind of think that you hate this part of me. So now I think the world hates me. Now I think the people that are supposed to love me hates me. And now they're telling me to teach me to hate myself. So how I reacted to it was, I'm going to conform and be what I see they accept. Now, I can't really put my mother in that category because I wouldn't know what she accepted, because as a kid, we never lived together. And my memory as a child is just like, I don't really have the best memory. But like I said, I do remember how situations made me feel, and sometimes that can make me remember the words they said because they initiated the feelings in the first place. But I reacted. You know how they say, some kids, when they don't find love at home, they go to the streets. And that's exactly what I did. Because I seen my dad, and then they respected the tough people. Like, my dad married this woman, and she had a bunch of kids, and they were all tough as hell. And I seen the way he looked at them. I seen the way he looked at my cousin. And I seen the way he looked at my sister now. I can see now, and this is only a thought, I'm not saying this is 100%, that, a father and a daughter, there's, of course he's going to look at her like that. But back then I'm just, well, she's tough and she's not like me. So I tried to be tough. I started hanging around, me and my grandmother. Even in the household, you used to hear about certain people on the news getting shot or getting locked up for shooting somebody, or getting killed or getting locked up for killing some people, and that's the type of people that I chose to be around. I wasn't hood at all. I wasn't tough. I used to cry so much, my dad nicknamed me CB, crybaby. According to my mother and them. And I laugh at that because that's funny, because looking back, I probably know I used to cry a lot, but I seen that they didn't, remember, I'm speaking of that as my childhood self, that they didn't like that, that made them hate me or think I was gay. So I tried to suppress that side of myself by being a gangster. And I went to the streets. It wasn't a transition I felt out of place, because now I'm fighting or getting jumped, or people are saying that they want to hurt me, and they never said this to me when I was safe living my other lifestyle. But in this alternative one, it's dangerous. And I tried to live with the aspect of never be afraid to do something to somebody that isn't afraid to do it to you. Meaning, don't ever be afraid to shoot or kill somebody that's not afraid to shoot and kill you. I tried to change my mentality, and I started smoking. It started off with Black and Milds, migrated to weed, drinking, and this is around the age of 13 and 15 that I'm doing this. Like, a lot of the things that these people can't wait to do when they turn 21, I was doing when I was 13 or 15, and I was there already. But I joined with the law enforcement, were labeled as a street organized terrorist group. And when you join this certain group, let me say you get a notebook of rules. And this notebook, if I was to be in, let's say, New York, and travel all the way to the West Coast, Compton, they know, I better know what's in this notebook if I'm going out there and identifying I'm a part of this section. Because the history of the group I joined from 1960, let's say, all the way into the present date, is in this book. And no matter where you are in the world, if you claim to be a part of this group, then you better know that information, or you're going to pay for it dearly by either A, getting your ass whooped for a certain amount of time, or B, getting killed. So I did that. And the first two rules was what was just like, wow. The first rule, number one, was no snitching, no talking to cops, Of course, that's common knowledge with, being in the hood. But to me, I'm not hood. I'm not from the hood. But, okay, I got to adapt this rule as my own now. But the second one was what? I wasn't shocked, but it still was just like, damn, like they put it right there. And it was no facts. So, of course, I wasn't shocked, but I'm just still like, damn. And I was like, damn, because there's a lesbian in leadership position within the organization I was a part of. She went both ways, but let's focus on the part that she was still gay. And when you ask, the people in leadership about this, it's, no, we mean two boys, or we mean two men. We no faggots. So they separate in the streets, in the hood, in a vast amount of people in the black community, the African American community, will consider two lesbians as normal, but two men is, that's what faggots are. That's what gay is. That's what homosexuality is. And I guess because the lesbians like females, like a vast majority of that community does, so it's cool. But man, and it just used to always mess me up, because you can take a whole group of, homophobes from the streets and put them in a room, and then send two females in there, and they'll watch those two females have sex with each other. put two dudes in there and just tell them to hold hands or say I love you to each other, and everybody will leave that room, but not before they kill the two dudes. So it was, it was difficult, but it was easy because I'm in the closet. I tried to suppress this lifestyle, so it kind of made it easy, but it really made it difficult because as time was going on, you start to see that you can't really suppress who you are. You can mask it, but eventually certain areas of that mask is going to start peeling off, and you're going to expose yourself. Whether you do it consciously or subconsciously, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But my dealings in the streets was difficult. Like, I remember the first time I got shot at. I think I was 14, and I was walking down the street with a group of people. It was 3 of us, and one of the people I was with had a relative that just got, I want to say, verbally assaulted by a rival set of ours. So the person told them, we're such and such, come through, all this other stuff. So we walking down the street, and I remember this like yesterday. We were walking down the street, and something, right now I say it's God, but back then something just told me to look behind me, and as I did, there's like a car behind me, fog lights on. Probably as far as this sofa is, you probably can't see it, but as far as this sofa is, for me, that car was. Fog lights on, windows down. I don't know why. I guess it was a reaction because I've never been in that situation before. My first thing was, yo, who that? And I turned around and let my crowd know. All 3 of them already took off. So I ran a bit, and then I just heard the first shot. I froze in fear, and I actually turned around. And I'm staring in the car as the muzzle flash is going. I'm looking right at it. Nothing came near me. I don't know why to this day. Nothing came near me. But that was the most traumatic, one of the most traumatic experiences of my life. Was literally watching somebody trying to murder me. And I don't know who it was to this day. I know the group, I just don't know who was behind the trigger. One of the people that I was with shortly went to retaliate. He didn't want anybody to come with him. He took the gun, got some bullets, threw his hoodie on, and vanished into the darkness, right to where they be at. And that's all I'm saying about that. But I started seeing, from gang fights to one-on-one fights to people getting shot on our end and on enemies' end, or to people getting killed on my end to enemies' end. It was all this I was going through to be accepted. And I had to be accepted being somebody else because the homosexuality wasn't accepted. So it was difficult, but for some reason I kept going. Because I felt finally like I was a part of something. My dad and everybody that was calling me a punk and a faggot, it stopped. It stopped. It only came up because I've never brought females home. I never talked about females really. So I guess that was the part of the mask that I spoke of earlier that was peeling off. So my dad, he asked me one time, "Are you a faggot?" He didn't say gay. He said, "You a faggot?" I remember we was in the car, me and his, good friend Will. We was in the car, them two up front. I was in the back seat. They stopped in the middle of the street. "Are you a faggot?" And I snapped. I got mad and, da 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 da, yada. Got out the car, slammed the car door, walked back up the block, got some weed, and smoked. I wasn't necessarily mad, but I had to pretend to be mad. Like, it wasn't accepted back then. Times got very hard. It was hard. You got to think, like I said in the beginning, I'm not a gangster. I'm not a thug. I had to be one. I had to conform into that. It's not my natural attitude. It's not my natural nature. But I had to be those things to survive. It no longer was just about fitting in. It's like I got so knee deep in that this was my lifestyle now. But it got hard, man, because the older I grew, the older I got, these desires wasn't going anywhere. They weren't. And I've talked to guys, and I've like messed around, and I always felt guilty afterwards, and not because only, and it's because I felt wrong, and I felt wrong because of the world, not just my family, but everything in the world that I've seen in my environment was condemning homosexuality. I felt like I was the only one. So I felt wrong, and there was times, like, I'll never forget the day that it was an afternoon. I believe it was a Sunday afternoon, where I sat in my grandmother's bathroom on the toilet with a 38 snub nose revolver in my hand. And that was the first time I thought about killing myself. That was the first time. Because it just became overbearing. I didn't, obviously. I was too scared. I seen how bad getting shot can hurt. So I was worried, like, what if I shoot myself and survive? What type of situation will I be in? Be a vegetable or can't walk or something, like, so it just became scary. So I didn't. So I got to the point where I used to just run in the yard like, God, why did you make me this way? Why didn't you let my sister be gay? And I didn't say that to put a harsh reality on my sister. I said it because at that time, where I grew up, it was all I knew about life. I used to think things like MTV or going out to dinner with your friends and having drinks at the bar with people was just something for TV. We went to the movies out in the streets, somebody had a gun. Somebody had a gun. You couldn't really go anywhere without the concern about getting caught slipping or lacking, as they say today. So back to what I was saying. I tried to put that on my sister for the simple fact that the world accepts gay females, as far as I knew. Watching my environment, it was cool to be a gay female. They weren't even considered gay. But men, yeah, there was no leniency whatsoever. I can recall when I was walking down the block with a certain group of people, and again, I'm not going to say any names of these situations, but I was walking down the block with a certain group of people, and I seen somebody that was cool with us. We were going to handle a physical altercation, and I seen this individual that we were cool with. So my reaction, like, yo, what's good? Such and such. Come here. So somebody behind me was just like, yo, don't call that faggot over here. Now, when he said that, I'm perceiving that he's calling this guy a punk or soft. But somebody else from the crowd was like, man, you bugging calling him a fag, man. He put it in. He bust his gun, yada 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 yay. He's like, nah, I ain't talking about that. He fuck with boys. Now everybody stopped, except me. Once I caught everybody else stop, I stopped. But I'm secretly or not, I'm still gay. So I'm not going to be fazed by hearing somebody else gay as much as a homophobe is. But everybody stopped and they was like, what? Long story short, they called the person that told us to verify what they said. And once she said, yeah. Long story short, shots rang out. Nobody died that day, but it's the fact that they just tried to kill somebody that they grew up with. Somebody that put their life on the line for them many a times because he was gay. So if I wasn't worried about coming out then, even though I was definitely worried then.
You gotta be.
But some people don't worry about coming out. It's not as big as of a thing for them on the basis of everybody's environment isn't going to be the same. Like everybody's situation wasn't the same as mine. Some had a physically a lot easier of a situation to come out, but emotionally it was probably just the same or worse than mine. You know, somebody, let's take a guy named Mike, for example, who worried that if he comes out, he's going to lose his lifelong best friend, Jonathan. You know, anybody can look at that and say, oh, well, your situation wasn't as dangerous as David. It's not always about the physical things, because sometimes emotionally, you know, him losing that friend could have been felt like to him losing his life like I could have. So I don't, you know, downplay anybody's situation. I used to never, you know, after when I came out, you know, I used to hear about the discreet and the DL things, and I'm just like, man, like I wasn't here for it. And that's because I forgot what it was like. You know, I forgot about my journey. I was just so focused on my destination that I forgot everything I went through to get me to that destination. If that makes any sense. But I mean, me being in the closet, me being on a DL caused me to live a alternative lifestyle. And that alternative lifestyle led me down many roads, but the life-changing road for me was the last time I went to jail. Because that time I not only stayed in jail for a year, I went to prison for 4 years and 3 months. And that was right around the time my uncle got killed, grandmother got shot. Yeah, it was right around that time, man. You know, I went to jail, to prison for, I'm not going to get into the case specifics, you know, but why I put this into the situation, because it's the situation that changed my life. You know, being locked up, it was the second time I decided to kill myself, thought to kill myself. It was a rough time. I mean, I was in a cell for 24 hours a day by myself for 3 weeks. And typically they give you 23 and 1, meaning 23 hours in your cell, 1 outside. But once you take that hour out, it's either to use the phone. I had nobody to call. I didn't have any friends on the outside. You know, the people that tried to raise me, the people that I grew up with, called friends, brothers, you know, got shot at for, you know, been on all the whole 9 yards. They tried to annihilate me through a suspicion of me being a homosexual. So I had no friends. Family and I weren't talking at all because, you know, we weren't seeing eye to eye at all. So there was no need for me to go out to try to use the phone. So the phone option is crossed out. Now you have another option of being in a cage for an hour. So it's either you can leave your cell and go sit in a cage for an hour, or you can stay in your cell. I chose not to sit in the cage. So I have one more option, and that's to take a shower. I didn't have any shower shoes, and I wasn't stepping on that shower barefoot. That disgusted. No, So I opted to sort that out the situation that was stay in the cell all day. And on some real stuff, man, to me, like to keep it all the way funky, being like that in a cell 24 hours a day, you ain't got no window, you know, no outside contact, nothing. You know, only time you get to see another person is when they slide in your tray through the tray port. Lord knows what they did to the tray before it got to you, but you ain't got no choice but to eat it. Situations like that, man, one or two things gonna happen. You're either gonna go real crazy or you gonna find God. You know, and at that time, I got locked up for some bogus charges, and the cops know it. The judge even looked at me, you know, people that were involved on the law enforcement side told me that if I'd have fought this, I could have beat it. But instead they were trying to give me like 20 plus. What they were telling me, and they told me I could go home if I take the stand and point the finger at somebody. I couldn't do that. I would never be able to walk with my head up again. You know, I was just that full of pride from my environment growing up with the streets. You know, I started living a lie, and I eventually began to believe that lie was the truth, and I forgot who I was. So whatever. I didn't know when I was coming home. I didn't know if I was coming home. Like I said, my uncle just had got murdered. My grandmother just had got shot. Supposedly, you know, people that are close to my family, not family, but friends of the family, had something to do with it. Then you know, my family thought that I was withholding more information than what I actually knew, because you know, they don't have too much experience with cops, my grandmother, and they don't have too much experience. So with that, they were just, anything they said was golden. So the cops told them I was withholding more information, and they believed it when I actually wasn't. I didn't know what was going on. The people that they said did it was with me. So I know for a fact the individual that's locked up for it right now didn't do it. Unless those police timing was off, he didn't do it because he was with me around that time. But nevertheless, I had all that just boarded up on me, you know, and being gay was the least of my concern, but I still had to take into the consideration that, you know, there's nothing on everything I am in reality, the world hates, and now I'm in prison. You know, people think that there's a whole lot of gay stuff that go down in prison, and it probably is in certain places, but it's not as much as TV or your parents that try to scare the kids portray it to be. It doesn't really happen as much as like that. Especially not in the prisons the prison that I was in, everybody that was in there was going home eventually. So no, the homosexual stuff wasn't as rampant as people make it seem. But now I'm in another environment where I'm condemned for being gay. I couldn't be it at home. I couldn't be it out in the world. Now I'm in prison and I can't be it there. Like everything just seemed like, what the fuck is the point anymore? It's just like, what was the point? You know, so I started reading the Bible around then, but at that time in my life, I was simply reading it just to get home. God, if you do this, I'll do that. You know, just to get home. And I think a week passed and I ain't hear not a break in my case. So I'm just like, I contemplated about, you know, killing myself, and I said I'm gonna do it. And I kid you not, it's like God or life or whatever you believe in. I believe in God, but it's just like something was trying to test me and challenge me, because at that moment a razor slid under my door. I didn't, you know, think about or anything that it was razor day. I just looked up like, oh, you really want me to kill myself? Like that's what I believed. So again, I didn't do it because, you know, I was just, this shit gonna hurt me, digging a razor across my wrist, cutting the vein and all. Nah. So right then at that moment, you know, I just buckled down and accepted the fact that I might not come home again. The very next day I got shipped out to another, you know, a maximum security jail. And that's when my life began to change. That's when I started finding God and dealing with the Bible. And I met some fly people down, you know, a pod lower, that was the squad, you know, and I started being me. And the strange thing is, the most popular people in the tier, they was all gravitating to me, and I just couldn't, I was fathom, like, yo, these some fly dudes, and they coming down to my cell to hang out with me. But, you know, my life began to change. You know, my boy, Go Hard, I gotta write him, man. You know, he taught me a lot, man. He's a gangster. Seriously. And he got the rap sheet to prove it. And honestly, God willing, he does, but on paper, he comes home April 25th, 2063, I believe. Like, he's never coming home again on paper right now. He's never going to get to hold his kids again. And just looking in them, that's another road. I'll get back to that. But, it was people like him, they surrounded us. I learned a lot from them, but one thing that I had to come to terms with was the homosexuality. And there was a officer there. I don't think he works there anymore, but Brother Case. We'd never forget Brother Case, man. Brother Case would slide into, the barbershop room where we get the cuts. He'd slide in there because every night we go in there and pray, little circle. And I developed a bond with him that I kind of trusted him, so I told him about the gay thing. I just, hashtag asking for a friend. I never told him it was me, but I was just like, I put it out there to where he know it was me, but if he reacted the wrong way, I could have easily, I wasn't talking about me, but, he's just like, it's wrong. God doesn't accept it. And I wrestled for like 3-4 weeks to 8 months with that. I wrestled with it till I finally just like, what? I can't do it. Every time I feel it, I gotta drop it. And that's what I did. I almost got banged up one time. When I say banged up, I'm talking about just caught up. Because there was this one as a rookie cop, and I was coming out my cell and he was walking upstairs because they got protective custody upstairs. So he was walking up on there. And I walked out my cell and I looked up and I just said, damn. Like, it just, like, something grabbed it out of my mouth. And I looked around, I'm like, okay, yeah, nobody saw that. I'm groovy. So I went on about my day, but I got so good at suppressing it. Not even good, well, yeah, so good at suppressing it that even when, when I went to prison, gays would come in, and I know that it was more easy for them to talk to me or be around me for the simple fact that at that time, speaking from that time, I was once gay, so I'm not alarmed or frightened by it when they come around, but I was just like, yo, if you don't change, you're going to go to hell. I even wrote my mother from prison talking about how I want to come home and change my life and me to get a girl, marry her, and have a family. I was that set on living a heterosexual lifestyle because, being gay is wrong, and I accepted that at that time. So I got good at suppressing it and wrestling it, and there was some people that kind of had a suspicion that I was gay locked up. For the simple fact, because I never tried to do anything. I've never tried to do anything with anybody. Nobody ever tried to do anything with me. It was just a simple fact that, for instance, from gym, we all go to the shower, and I'm getting in there ass naked. They go in there with dirty drawers on and try to shower with their drawers on. And I'm not doing that. Nah. It ain't go. I would take the fact that y'all want to call me gay. I'll take it. But I'm not getting in the shower with no dirty clothes on and try to wash up with dirty clothes on. No, y'all got that. I'll pass. But other than that, prison was a training ground for me. There was, the first day I got down there, I think a few days later somebody got killed down there. And he was going home soon. Then I think a few weeks later to a month, somebody else got killed. People got stabbed, jumped, beat up, cops setting people up. Cops tried to get me, beat up because they said I was too nice to be surviving down there. And I will say his name. If you could recall, I haven't dropped really one name throughout this whole video. But Sestito, he's a coward. I shouldn't say it. I'm going to leave that alone because I don't know if I should or shouldn't say it. But he was trying to get me hurt down there. And I didn't know. I just know that they took me out. I was in a cell by myself, which I wanted in the first place. And they took me out my cell and put me in a dorm with everybody else. So I noticed that they kept taking people that wanted to be in the dorm and sticking them in cells. And I didn't pay it any mind. I just was yelling, yo, why they put you in the cell? They respond, nothing, yo. Nothing, man. They on some BS. So I was going to rec. I went to the yard one day, and my boy Black walked up to me like, yo, you know, Sestito trying to get you popped down here, right? In other words, trying to get me killed or hurt bad. I'm like, nah, I ain't know that shit. So I go back to the dorm, and I want to say the big dog in the dorm. You know, I walked up to him like, yo, what's going on? He's like, man, Tyson, you a cool dude. You know, we respect you in here. We like you in here. Ain't nobody doing nothing to you. I shook his hand, and, you know, through that dorm, my whole experience in the dorm, I loved being in the dorm. I loved it. I'm like, why the heck was I not wanting to be in the dorm in the first place? But it was cool, you know. I didn't have any problems with inmates locked up besides people thinking I'm gay. Nobody ever did anything to me because I had respect. And not because I was beating people up or some type of tough gangster, but people respected me for me. Only thing that I hid was the fact that I was gay or used to be gay. But everything else, you know, prison where I started finding out that I gotta love me if I want anybody else to love me. You know, and I have to accept that I'm an affectionate person or that I'm a loving guy, you know. You know, everything that I was afraid of about myself, I grew to accept and love. And, you know, I started falling in love with me, you know, and it made prison that much easier when I did that. It made it much more easier. It got to the point where I used to be scared because I didn't want to come home for the simple fact is it's hard. You know, a felon, when we come out, man, the society look at us like we're aliens. You know, we're just these god-awful, unforgivable people. You know, people are so focused on what we were that who we are today don't stand a chance. And I'm still dealing with that, you know, from gay people and everything, you know. I'm still dealing with that, but I'm cool and I accept that now. So, like I said, prison, it was rough. Prison was rough. You gotta think about, you know, some people that, you know, the first time they came in, they ain't get to leave. You know, like I said, you know, 2 people got killed. My old Sully P, you know, it was sad. You know, one night it's 1 a.m. in the morning. We ate, you know, drinking our coffee because in there coffee like alcohol. So we having our little beat downs, telling our stories about, you know, things in the street. And he was actually looking forward to going to court, you know, in a few hours because, not a few, well, yeah, he had to get up at 4 a.m. for the transfer, but, you know, he was, Tyson, man, I'm going to do this 30, you know, be home, get back to my daughter, all this other stuff. You know, he was looking forward to getting 30 years. Came back from court probably about like 2 o'clock that afternoon, and he looking, you know, me and the rest of the guys, we like, you know, it was good. Then we noticed his face. I'm like, yo, I'm like, man, what fix your damn face coming in here looking like that? Might as well take you in that room and go to your body or something, like, you know, just playing with him. And he quiet. I'm like, what the fuck wrong with you? Like, yo, man, they gave me 75. Like, they took that man life from him while he was still alive. You know, my boy Go, I believe his release date is in April of 2053 or 2063. You know, you see people that come in there the first time they made a mistake, they ain't getting to leave. Some people came down there, you know, probably had 3 months to do and got killed on, you know, their 3rd month in. So I didn't experience. There's only one gay thing that happened where I was at that came out, you know, but the dude that got caught got his ass whooped so bad that they had to send him to a whole nother prison. You know, so you're trapped in a hostile environment and there's nowhere that you can go to get away from it. So imagine, you know, just doing that for the rest of your life. So, you know, it was rough in the sense of that, like I said, I didn't really experience too much of the homosexual thing in jail, you know, and I'm gonna try to keep it focused. You know, this little documentary focused on, you know, the homosexual aspects, but I didn't really, you know, deal with homosexuality besides me condemning gay people that came in there to hell and whatnot. But I came home, you know, that's when I still came home on you know, gays go to hell thing, and I was going to church in Hackensack, New Jersey. I met up with my boy from the halfway house, Terrell. You know, we was pretty close, you know, and I was going to that church with them. And remember, like, in the beginning of the video, I said something about that mask. You know, it'll start peeling off, and it was. You know, again, people seen I was a lot more affectionate than other guys. So I noticed the distance, the judgment. So I really stopped kind of going to that church as much. And I went there one time, and you know, we don't talk as much, but you know, shout out to my boy Edwin. If you ever see this, he changed my life. I thought God was sending me to change his life, because one day, it was after service, I walked up to him like, yo, you're a good looking dude, you should get into modeling. And it was genuinely a compliment, no ulterior motives, nothing. And he's like, thank you. Hours later, I get a message from him on Facebook Messenger, I believe, and it's him thanking me for the compliment, but him saying you're cute too. So I'm like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing, God. You're going to have me change him like you changed me. That wasn't the big man's plan at all. He used that guy to change me. He said one thing to me that I won't forget was, go read for yourself. And I've read everything that people use to slander gays. And I'm just like, you know, I got to the point where I'm just like, you know what? Screw this. Just gonna live my life the way I believe God is telling me to, where his peace follows me, you know. And that's the first time I think I've ever said in an openly and accepting manner, I'm gay. And from that point on, I think it was my 25th birthday, I just started identifying as a homosexual. I didn't come out. I think I told my mother first, because she called me one day and was like, David, I just saw this commercial. She probably don't forget. She probably don't remember this, but I remember this because, you know, you remember the things like this. But she's like, David, I just saw this commercial, and I'm going to sign you up for Match.com, or it was one of them dating sites. Find you a nice woman. I'm like, Mom, don't do that. I'm gay. And I heard the depression in her voice. I heard it. And, you know, I don't... In the time period I was locked up, you know, she had a best friend that was gay. Working with her, you know, in the field, in a hostile type environments, in a line of work. And, you know, this lesbian woman had her back, and the mother I knew when I was coming up, when I was, you know, struggling with my sexuality, I didn't, you know, she was gone. Because this woman that I met when I came home, she was just matured into, you know, she just amazes me. She was accepting of, you know, she was more accepting of gay people, but I still think that she had some things to worry about or felt some type of way, because it wasn't a friend that was telling her that they're gay. This time it was her son, her firstborn, her best friend, you know. And maybe that wasn't in her image of what my life was going to be like, because she used to always tell me I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be this, and I used to live my life according to those beliefs. Like, even when I was getting on the streets, I joined a college and went for criminal justice, you know, because I believed my mom when she said I was going to be a lawyer. But, you know, when I was locked up, I learned that, you know, you can't, you got to stay on your journey, you know. People would tell you everything in the world, and, you know, that you're going to be this, you're going to be that, and it all can be in good intentions, but you have to find your purpose if you want to simplify your life. And I learned a lot while I was locked up, but she was the first person I told, and I'm pretty sure she told her husband, because I know my mother, and I know something, it was weighing on her, and I know my stepfather, and that's really one of the first men I've ever trusted around my mother, because I know he'll lay down his life for her, and he's in tune with her, and he's in law enforcement. In the beginning, coming in the streets, they teach you to hate cops, and that was my hatred towards cops. In the beginning, they really didn't do anything to me. I was just taught that we're supposed to hate them, so I did. And even when I met him, it's just like, I'm not going to say his real name. I'm going to just identify him as, Pat. He probably going to bug out it when he see this, but, in the beginning, I was cool with Mr. Pat, not Officer Pat. I ain't know who Officer Pat was, what type of officer Pat was. So Mr. Pat was cool, but I know when these cops put on that uniform, they're somebody entirely different. And I will say this, me being locked up taught me that sometimes a good cop will have to be a dickhead, because people are just ignorant, take advantage of the good cops, and when they turn bad, they want to complain. But nevertheless, so I didn't tell anybody that, and I eventually, when I came home, I went back to my area for about a year and a half, and a relative finally let me come move with them out of that state to start my life over, and I was happy, because I get a fresh start. I didn't take into consideration how difficult things would be. Not only am I a young black American, I'm a young black American that's a felon. Not only am I a young black American that's a felon, I'm a young black American that's a felon and a homosexual. So life was hard. I had a job in construction, and the homophobia there was real, but I was afraid to speak up against it, for the simple fact it's hard as hell for people like me to get a job, black and a felon. I done went, on interviews with, white people that had worse charges than me, rape charges, yada yada yada, you name it, and they'll always get picked over me. But it is what it is. I don't really complain about that junk, man. I just put my feet firm in the ground and keep my head up like a man. 'Cause at the end of the day, I can easily say, you know what, I'm going to just go back to selling drugs again. Because I seen some people make $1,500 every 2 weeks. I remember I made that in a half an hour selling weed. I was on a bracelet and made $1,500 in a half an hour selling weed. So I can easily go back to that, say that, but what type of example would I be? Or I'd be spitting in I'd be spitting in my man's face that ain't never coming home again. I'll be disrespecting my family, because when you get locked up, and I know this is off track from the documentary or whatever, but I know when you put yourself in dangerous situations, you get locked up, or you go out there and do something stupid, you put your family at risk too. And they don't, my mother and my grandmother, they held me down throughout my entire sentence. I didn't expect it, but they was there. I can easily write my mom, can you send me these song lyrics? And, she'll send them to me. But I came down here, and I was ready to live out my life as a gay male, openly gay male. I can be that now. I'm in a new place, new face. Let's get it. And I had the expectation since I was gay. I've never, this is my first gay community. I've never been around gay people, gay community before. I know, I don't know why, but I had the expectation that this is going to be, since everybody else hate us, gay people going to love each other. We're going to stick together. It's nothing like that. And I wanted, if anybody that's in a closet right now is watching this, don't ever hold the expectation that gay people are, loving each other because the world hates us. You'll figure we love each other. It's not like that. Excuse my language, but this shit it's worse than the streets. I felt kind of more safer in the streets. And somebody asked me, how could you say that? Nobody's shooting you here. And it's just like, out there, you know who your enemies are. So you know how to maneuver. I done came here and watched a group of people dog somebody out behind their back. As soon as he walked through the bar doors, they give him hugs, kisses on the cheeks. Oh, how you doing? Oh, we miss you. And, it was just, I'm like, it made me uncomfortable. So I kind of, like, if somebody makes me uncomfortable, I'm going to make you feel uncomfortable being around me. In a sense of, I'm going to show you my aggressive nature before I show you who I really am. Because even though I lived a lie, that lie became my reality because it's real. It became real. I had to be that, the wannabe gangster I was trying to be. I had to conform to being, at least trying to be a gangster. And I did a pretty good job at it. I wasn't the toughest, I wasn't the wildest, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be many people who tell you that I never did anything, and I appreciate that, because I don't want to be known for anything I did, seen, or had to do out there. So I appreciate that if y'all see this, whatever, but I know what I did. They know what I did on a low. So I show people that, like, I don't want you to be comfortable around me. Don't come around me. Feel uncomfortable. Like, I was a part of a fitness group here that they started. In the beginning, I was going I think they used to go on jogs, and we had weekend events on Sunday. But now, you wouldn't catch me dead there. For the simple fact of people in the streets, they accepted the fact that I was, or at least portraying to be rough and aggressive or whatever, but they would never accept the fact that I'm gay. Here in this gay community, they accept the fact that I'm gay, but they would never accept my background. It's like they're so focused on who I was, that who I am today, or who I'm trying to be growing into, maturing to, it doesn't stand a chance to a lot of these guys. And but to get back to that story, like, I actually had a whole conversation with two people talking about me. They just knew my name, they didn't know my face. So I'm in a conversation like, nah, he did that? Oh, he ain't killed nobody. He was locked up for murder. Like, I'm really digging into the conversation with them. Like, they're going in on me. And I'm just feeding into, like, oh my God, this guy is crazy. He is crazy. Adam or Billy, I'm not going to say their names, but he's crazy. I walked off from that conversation like, yo, this, and it's not anybody that I haven't talked to that's, from out of town that comes and see this gay community here that doesn't say the same thing I said, was, this shit is some sucker shit out here. And it's not everybody, because there's some cool people out here, but it's just like with the media and movies and TV shows. They want to, it's like, just say you got a million gay people in a room, and out of that million, let's say 20 of us happen to be real, genuine people, honest people who stand for integrity, no gossip, none of that. You're going to have to really find us. We're 20 out of a million, and those numbers may not be exact, but it's just a figure of speech that, the media and everybody portrays or wants to show the negative side of it. They make it seem like we're all about sex. Oh, we're all about dressing up in dresses and putting makeup on. And I'm not condemning any drag queens or anything. It's just people from the outside don't understand. I used to hate drag queens, transsexuals, and I hated them for the simple fact I didn't understand. I didn't understand. You're gay. Why are you trying to act like a girl or whatever? I didn't understand until I actually became cool with a drag queen. Jasleen. I actually became cool with a transgender. You know, my tater tots. she knows who I'm talking about, and they helped me to understand that I was doing to them what people did to me, which was making them feel ashamed of being who they are, and I won't ever do that again. I may not understand it. I may not be able to ever date it, be with the person like that or anything, but as a loving friend, I'm there, and that goes for any gay person. Like, I've been bashed with homophobia all my life. When I came out, I never recognized how many kids kill themselves because of the church, the parents, or just the pure homophobes, making them hate themselves. I never, the conversion therapy, all this stuff was new to me when I came out. And it kind of lit a fire in me. I have zero tolerance for it. And it's probably dangerous for me to give, because knowledge is power. And it's probably dangerous for me to admit that, because some people will probably try to deliberately antagonize that just to try to get me to come out somewhere. But, like, I really don't like homophobes, man. I mean, my only was, and it's just like, they think gay people soft or punks or, things like that. And, to each his own. But we still men. And I'm not speaking to females at this point, because at the end of the day, the world is a lot more accepting for lesbians. They're not exempt from suffering homophobia. I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form, but if two females walk down the street right now holding hands, people probably wouldn't double take. But if two men, you probably hear faggot, slur, all this other stuff. Because they think we're soft. And, I kind of can see, being here, I kind of can see why they think we're soft. I do. I've seen, around here, I've seen many gay people ready to go at each other's necks. As soon as somebody they don't know say something disrespectful to them, they want to be quiet. Oh, it ain't worth it, to call 911. And I'm just like, nah, have that same energy you just had with your fellow gay with them. But to get back to what I was saying in the beginning, I just don't, the transition from there to here was nothing like I thought it would be, and that's my own fault. Because I had expectations what it was going to be like, and I made mistakes here. I've gave, guys attention that should have never had it from me. I used to look at other guys like, damn, he's a catch. If I drop him, I lost. Now I look at myself like, you a catch, but I'm one too. I may not be in the best position right now or look the best, but there's never going to be anything that'll outshine a genuine heart, somebody real. And it took me, I've been home. Let me say I've been out since 2015. It's 2017, the end of 2017 right now. And it took me almost 3 years to learn that. So hopefully if anybody's paying attention, they'll learn from this. I'm a hard-headed learner with a lot of things. Like, I actually have to go through it to learn it sometimes. But hopefully a lot of y'all don't. I mean, things with my family, my relationship with them, everything. When I was coming up, all I wanted to do was to be accepted, to feel like I mattered. And, I don't think my family would believe me saying these things. I don't know why they wouldn't, but it's all I really ever wanted was to feel like I mattered, to feel like I cared. I mean, like somebody cared about me. Like, it's sad, but God is my witness, and God knows that I used to sit back and think in my head, like, damn, like I wanted to die just to see how many people come to my funeral, or I will feel like only in death will people care. I thank God for that fear of me. I was so scared to kill myself, because if I wasn't, I'd have did it. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So I get why gay people commit suicide. I get why the rate may be way higher, than heterosexual youth. I get it. Because if I wasn't afraid to, I would have did it. But I'm glad I didn't. And I say that to say this. Like I said, I just always wanted to be accepted and feel like I mattered and that I cared or somebody cared about me. Now it's just, and that like, when you go through traumatic situations, the fear will either consume you, which it did with me. It consumed me. I lived my life around avoiding accepting that fear. So I tried everything I could to be accepted. I seen that my family didn't respect me for being the soft and loving kid. I was imposed to believe that that's not what a man is. So I tried to be a gangster. That's all I seen getting respect where I was at. I tried to be that, and that wasn't it. I tried to be accepted the best way I could, and nothing worked. And I went to prison, and I learned to love me. So the fear no longer consumes me. But it didn't heal me. It didn't help me, because now I'm completely insensitive. See, the fear is either going to consume you or make you a bit insensitive, and I'm kind of completely insensitive now. And I really pray my mother and my grandmother, if they ever see this video, that they forgive my language, but I'm trying to speak so y'all can actually feel the intensity of anything I'm saying, so I'm not blocking out any language. But if you look me in my eye right now, I'm assuring you, I don't give a fuck who walks out of my life, family or not. I don't. And that's bad, because until like this very moment, I thought that I grew and matured and, finally strong enough to say, well, I don't care if people accept me. I didn't. I deflected that by turning that emotion off. Like, I don't know how to balance it, so I just shut it off completely. I'm either all the way in or all the way out. Like, I'm insensitive. I don't care. And it comes out sometimes. Like, my sister and I, we grew up together. We never really had a strong connection. I'm trying to say it right, because I know she's gonna watch this, and I don't want her to. I don't even know if she's gonna take it. Like, I don't even know if it's taking it the wrong way, what I'm going to say. But we don't have the best relationship right now. And my mother's text me the other morning, like, you should try to work things out for your sister, because she went through a lot of things because of your lifestyle. And I'm not going to talk about that right now, but I'm just saying, like, I don't want to fix it. I don't want to fix a relationship with my dad. I don't want to fix a relationship with my cousin. I got a baby sister. Well, not a baby. I think she's like 13 now. We don't beef, but I don't care about having a relationship with her. And it's not that I'm not going to say that it's not. I just feel like I don't have any love. It's just like, once I feel as though you left me and we left from each other, like, I completely closed those emotions. And it's just, it's the fact that I'm just like, I say I don't really care about them, because not about them, but about the relationship, because it's just like, when I wanted relationships with these people, not just them, and I'm not saying them now, when I just wanted relationships with whoever, they didn't want it back then when I needed them. I don't really feel as though I need y'all right now. You weren't there when I needed you. And as I'm really listening to myself talking, it's not healthy. It's a lot of pain and a lot of anger that I still have, but I don't know where it's at, so I don't know how to deal with it, because I honestly thought that it was growth, and thinking that it was growth. Me and my sister, I accept our relationship now. Keep us apart for some time, and You know, we go back and forth with text and love and text, but if we're together too much, then we bump heads. Like, we bump heads. Seriously, we bump heads if we're together too much. We can never live with one another. I don't even think we can go to a family function, you know, but if we're consistently together for an extended amount of days, not time, we will bump heads to the point where somebody from the outside looking in to think that we're two strangers arguing in the street and we hate each other. You know, with my dad, I accept our relationship now. I've grown to understand that my dad didn't hate me. I don't know if he accepts the fact that I'm gay or not. We don't talk about it. But I do know he doesn't hate me. Well, he didn't hate me. You know, I was asking him to do something for me that he couldn't even do for himself. You know, he's like that. We have another brother, and I can't speak on our relationship because I don't know what it is, but him and I don't talk. We don't talk at all. We don't talk at all. But if I call that man and say, Dad, I'm in a bang, you know, and I really need some money. How much you need, David? Can you wait for me to send it to you till I get paid? You know, he loves people in a language that he needs to be loved with. You know, if he can, he'll do anything for anybody, especially his family. I wasn't mature enough to understand that back then. I am now, and I can accept that now. You know, I believe he accepts it too. We don't talk. But if, you know, we was to meet somewhere for a family function, we'll accept that. You know, I don't think we've ever said we love I love you to one another, because it kind of feels uncomfortable. It was something I don't think we ever said to each other. And if he ever said it to me, I think I was too small to remember, but it's an unspoken thing. You know, we're cool. You know, as far as my cousin, honestly, I'm just like, fuck him, you know. It is what it is. I mean, I remember when I came home, I went to hang out with him and he stood me up. So, and I was reaching out to him. He didn't answer me for a couple of days. And when he finally talked to me, he's like, yo, I thought you was on some faggot shit when you asked me to, you know, come, we could sip some wine together. And I'm just thinking, like, what? Because I asked you to come sip some wine? You thought I was on some gay shit? Who the hell? I'm just thinking, like, what? Negro, what makes you think I'm attracted to you in the first place? But, you know, that's neither here nor there. But, you know, I am entirely insensitive to relationships now. Romantic ones with a partner, I'm not as insensitive. I wasn't, but now I am. I definitely got like that. Like, you know, there's a guy, Matt, that I used to talk to. He's the first guy I talked to. Not honest, like, he was just the sweetest person to me. I actually fell in love with this guy. And he was with me through the whole, you know, me going to court back and forth. And I told him I was going to, even before I knew, I'm like, yo, I'm going to jail for 5 years. Well, prison for 5 years. I know I'm going to get locked up. And it happened. You know, I didn't expect for him to wait for me. And even if he would have said he wanted to, I was just like, I can't ask you to do that. But what I also didn't expect, was when I come home, all I did was just want to talk to him. Like, I ain't expect for us to get together and live happily ever after. You crazy? But I didn't expect him to say that we were never nothing. Like, he just wrote me off. So it's just, the gay world ain't, you know, what the female in the closet think it's gonna be. It's harsh. You know, you just gotta learn how to maneuver. When I say learn how to maneuver, a lot of times we see bad relationships or we see trouble coming. And since we want the relationship or love the person so much, we just choose to ignore it. But a principle that I've learned that I'm now abide by is making the easy choices is what makes your life harder. Making the hard ones is what makes your life easy. So I can say everything that I went up to the point that I came out. It just it kind of killed me inside, and I'm slowly resurrecting, becoming alive again. I'm thankful, that me and my mother are cool. I can call her and talk to. It still feels uncomfortable for me, and it's not anything that she's doing. It's just, again, I guess I'm being unfair to her because I'm just still holding on to the family I knew as a kid. It's just like I wish I would have had the acceptance that I have from her now back then, because I probably would have. Never mind. I'm not gonna say that because I don't. I just sometimes I think that if I would have came out back then maybe I wouldn't have went to the streets. If I didn't go to the streets, then I wouldn't have went to jail. I wouldn't have known what it's like to get shot at or try to shoot somebody, or have people getting murdered that you considered, your boys, or your house getting shot up, or looking somebody's mother in the face who wants to know what happened to her son because somebody just whatever. But then again, if I'd have came out, it probably wouldn't have been all peaches and cream. I'd probably wouldn't have been scared to kill myself because the turmoil would have been that bad. And I'm not saying that for anybody to stay in a closet, because I don't like them closets anymore. If you really want to be free from the fear, then come out. Come out the closets. Live your life. You are never going to live your life or see what life has for you until you start to be you. As long as you pretending to be somebody else, even if you're giving life 99% of you, you're still missing that 1%. That 1% may be the turning point. You never know. So just be encouraged. There's hope. There's people that's been through what you're going through. There's people that's going through what you're going through. Reach out, ask for help. One thing I may not like. Let me not say that. I may not agree or understand some of the personalities with these people around here. But there's this, I don't think I'll be wrong for saying his name, and if I am, I hope he reaches out to me and says something. But there's this guy named Jason around here, and I may be wrong. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. He either started or took part with other people starting a fitness group around here, and it was a way to get gay people to connect, and be active, and they never kept it enclosed for gay people. Anybody's welcome. And I may not be a part of that. It ain't for me, that crowd, but I definitely can appreciate the concept of it. There's things out there like that. I don't know, and I can't say that everybody's in a good environment to do these things, because I sure as hell wasn't. And I honestly feel as though I gotta take back what I said about, just coming out because of whatever environment or situations you may be been in. But I won't take back when I say reach out. Reach out. I would try to find information for LGBT resource centers to put at the end of this documentary, whatever you want to call it. But I just want to say, love you some you. Experience was pretty rough in the beginning, but I did have smiles and I did meet some cool people along the way. Being gay has its pros and its cons, just like being straight. So, it's I believe it's a lot more difficult to be gay, but there is laughter, there is smile, there is good times there. You just got to make the right choices and surround yourself with people who add to your life and not subtract from it. Live in a moment and be here now. If it isn't bringing you joy, if it isn't praying for you, if it isn't motivating you or grinding with you or grinding at all, what is it around you for? What are they around you for? So we have a lot of power within ourselves to remove toxic things, people, and places from our lives. There's anything that I want people to take from watching this story is there's always going to be, somebody out there that understands. And you may not have the means to get in contact with these people, but take it from my story that you're not alone. Because some people can't compare to what I went through. I can't compare to some people. So within that range, there's always somebody out there who, you're not alone. And I believe that a lot of us gays who are in a closet, we start off with the fact that we are so busy hoping, worried, concerned that everybody else will accept us, that we fail to realize that we're not accepting us. We're so worried about chasing love, hoping people will love us back, but we're neglecting loving ourselves. And that can be a big problem. If you don't love you, if you don't love you, you're basically telling me that you're not worth loving. I'm pretty sure that you have some family or there's somebody around that would tell you that you're worth it, but as long as you're telling yourself that you're not by not accepting who you are, how can you expect other people if you're constantly telling people that something's wrong with you by hiding who you are, by not accepting yourself? You're in a toxic relationship with yourself, and there's a lot of growing that I still have to do, because honestly, I used to, people used to call me ugly a lot, family, people, I haven't ever heard the word that I was attractive as coming up, and I believe that. So where the mind goes, the body will follow. And it showed then the type of guys that I felt that I can only attract. You kind of, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like you kind of, when you believe these false beliefs, you settle for less. You will never shoot for what's intended for you. You will never aim higher because you don't believe you can have higher. So it's just, coming out the closet starts with you. It's entirely up to you to sit back and say, or look in the mirror and say, I'm worth it. And if somebody doesn't accept it, then that's on them. That's their loss, not mine. And I'm saying this as a 28-year-old homosexual African American with a felony. Two felonies. And I look that if somebody doesn't want to be in my life, then that's their loss, not mine. Even with everything I have against me. Why? Because I know I'm worth it. You have to believe that about you. But you're never going to get anywhere in life. You're always going to settle for less. You're always going to chase a relationship, and when you get it, no matter how toxic it is, I mean, you'll start apologizing for mistakes that they're doing. And I'm telling you this from experience because I did it. You know, I didn't see myself the other way. A lot of people used to always tell me I'm hot and all this other stuff. No, I'm not. And they'll think I'm playing or trying to rug it off, but I was dead serious. You know, but I don't have any negative beliefs about me anymore. And my mentality changed. Like, a fire lit in me that I always knew was there but didn't know how to ignite. Like, I'm coming for everything that I feel is in my heart. Every passion that God gave me, whether it be marrying the sexiest man that I know I can have, having the best job that I know I can have. I'm not settling for less. You know, I remember I was locked up. My boy Tulak looked at me and said, "You know why people never reach their dreams?" And I said, "No, why?" He's like, "Because they settle for less." And that rings true to this day. So if you want everything that you're supposed to have in life, if you want people to accept you, you got to accept yourself. If you want other people to love you, you got to love yourself. If you want people to see the value in you, you have to see the value in you. Because if you don't, you're going to block all that. And how are other people going to see it? And as you continue to block that, you're going to feel as though people are neglecting you or rejecting you. No, they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting who you're portraying to be. That's a huge difference. So, I'm like very passionate with the LGBT community. I don't, I don't get involved with a lot of the politics sides of things. That's not my thing. Like, I'm in the field. I'd rather be in the field. Boots on the ground, feet in the street. You know, that's where I'd rather be. I can be very different, and one thing I do like to do is just help people avoid walking down the path that I took. You know, and I haven't been through it all, but if I see you going down somewhere, a path that led me down a negative route, then yeah, I'm going to try to stop you. I'm going to tell you. But if you continue to walk, I'm not going to run after you. That's just not me. Things don't work like that. I talk to you, try to give you advice. If you don't want to proceed or take heed, you know that it's no longer my problem. So if you can stop right now, and if somebody has been talking to you to give you good direction, I know me saying that has strung a chord for you to realize that maybe you do have somebody. And for those of you who really don't have anybody, there's somebody out there. You know? I don't know anybody's situation. It's easy for me to say, go out to the bars or go out more, socialize or reach out to LGBT centers or whatever. But anybody that's watching this, there may be only 20 people watching this. There may be 1 million people watching it. I don't know 1 million people's situations and circumstances. But only thing I can tell you to include anybody that's watching it is take control of your life. And what I mean is start trying to take care of you. Stop waiting for somebody else to do it. You reach out. You look for resources. You do what you have to do. Because I tell you, I used to always wait for other people to do what I can do myself. And it kind of didn't take my success away from me, but I definitely believe that it prolonged it. But I'm here now. So you be here too. I got it tattooed on me. I don't know if y'all can see it. You know, it says be here now. You know, and I got that because it means so much to me from watching, you know, somebody actually receiving their dream and their passion in life. It's an actor, Andy Whitfield. He was, if anybody ever seen Spartacus, he was, Spartacus. I just learned about the show a few days ago. Well, not a few days ago, a few weeks ago, and I got through season 1 because I like that warrior mentality, that work, that, battle. Let's go to battle, whether it be by myself or my brothers, and if we die, we die. But as long as we fight for I love that type of stuff. So I watched the whole first season in like a day. And the second season came and it just jumped back to, I guess, to try to explain how the first season got through that. And I'm like, nah, I'm not watching that. It's whack. It's boring. I got to the third season and the whole main character switched. So I'm like, did he do something to the show, or the show kicked him off? So 5 days later, I was watching the third season, which was pretty good. The shout out to whoever the new guy was, but it was good. And I was cleaning, so I didn't, with Netflix, they give you the option to just skip to the next show. I was cleaning, so I didn't get the opportunity to do that. And when I looked up, I saw rest in peace, Andy Whitfield. So I'm like, oh shit, he died? So I seen in the corner that he had a Be Here Now film, a documentary film, and I read that. This was, around the time I was going through a lot in a relationship myself. And I watched that documentary, and the thing I take away, he received his dream as an actor, and then a year later he got cancer. And he died from that cancer. And it was a very sad film, but his strength, his courage, his vulnerability in it, and his words of be here now. Live in the moment, be present, because anything can happen to you. I can, soon as he stops, soon as the recording stops, I can drop dead. When that day comes to where I die, if I have the opportunity to look back on my 5 minutes ago or my yesterday, I'm living my life to the point where I'm going to be content because I was smiling or I had fun. I will no longer let misery, sorrow, or anything, rob me of however time I have left. I don't know when I'm going to die. Nobody is really promised a happily ever after. So make the most of right now. We get so mixed up when we think of how life is supposed to be. We are so focused on how we think it's supposed to be, but when reality checks us, when how life actually is come hit us, we reject it because we're focused on our path. So just be here now. Live your life. Don't live in fear. Don't live with regret. Don't live in misery. Don't live in toxic relationships. Be happy. Be yourself. And don't worry about anybody accepting you, because as long as you're being yourself, the right people will come. I don't know when. I don't know how many. I don't know where. But they will come. So just take that away. I appreciate y'all sticking it out to the end. I know it was a lot longer than what anybody planned it, even myself. But I'm appreciative at the fact, and like I said, I don't care if one person watches this. I'm not looking to do anything but just to share a story. If this story can change one person's heart, I'll be fine. I don't know how I feel if it doesn't change anybody, but I just did this because I felt I need to, not because, not for any other reason. I'll put, if you see this, you want to get in contact with me, I will put, my IG and, my social media things on this, and I hope y'all enjoy y'all day. And I really want to tell y'all that no matter what, somebody's always out there. Somebody does love you, and be here now. Live in the moment. Be happy. It's sad to say, but I'm telling y'all, I want to get my life to the point where if I was to die 5 minutes from now and was given the opportunity to reflect on my life, I'm gonna make sure that I can smile and accept that my time is over.